Dyson Pizza contains descriptions of peril, natural disasters, and kaiju. Content warnings can be found in the episode description.
Hello, wayward listeners. Today's journey is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be going on a journey through space and time as we see the origins of our ragtag band of heroes and how they came to meet in Kokoro. So sit tight, listen closely, and enjoy the show. Our story begins in the farming village of Kokoro Village. It's a pretty humble village. Daily life here is pretty hard. Farming in this region is not very, the soil here isn't very great. But they are able to farm one main thing, which is rice, by using irrigation from the river. This village has what's called a guardian, which is a person chosen at birth to protect the village, imbued with magical powers from their god. Zaba, it's about time for your morning divination ritual. Describe to me the divination ritual.
So every morning, when Zaba gets up, if they have a private space, they'll do it there. If they're like in the village, but this is the one time that that Zaba takes off the wooden mask that that he has worn since he was chosen by Bannon to be the guardian, and so he even sleeps with it on, which I imagine isn't too comfortable. But the ritual, not to get too sidetracked, is he will get up, and this is the one time when he'll take off his mask because he's going to communicate with Bannon and see what Bannon is going to ask of him for that day, or is going to, and have a conversation. And to do this, he lights a fire. He observes the fire. He looks at how quickly it catches, the smoke and the smoke patterns, the color of the smoke. And through that, he will divine what his god is telling him and use that for that day's chores and tasks and warnings.
Roll me for this challenge.
Yeah. That's a 5.
That's a 5.
Yeah.
Okay. You fail your intended action and face a setback of the guide's choice. You might lose equipment, take damage from an enemy counterattack, or face some other misfortune. So you do that. Mask off, divining, looking at the smoke. You learn 3 things. 1, that farming will be good today. There's nothing to be worried about. 2, that you should pay respect to your elders. And 3, that today is a good day to spend time down by the river, for there might be plentiful fish.
And so how Zaba divines that really is that Zaba like lights the fire, and he's using a little bit of like some leaves, a little bit of kindling. He doesn't burn too much because that would be wasteful. And so the fire takes its time to light. There's a couple ways to interpret when a fire takes a while to light. Either it's something that's like, oh, like that's often a bad omen, but it also can be an encouragement if it's just taking a while to catch, and it has a slow buildup of fire. Then it's saying it's this is a time to like take some time. It's not a day to be quick. When watching the kindling taking its time to burn, interprets it as the latter, as, oh, today is a time, is a slow day. Today is a time to appreciate elders. It's not a time of rush or danger. And so while Zaba kind of watches the smoke drift, it drifts in an undulating way, something that looks like a river. It could also be a snake, but Zaba interprets it as a river. The river is a good omen. It means that the river is what provides for us. The river provides water for our rice paddies. The river also provides us fish. And so Zaba takes all of these signals as good omens, and integrates that into what he is going to do for the day.
The Okaran Empire held no fear of famine, until the dragon called Tang Kai brought down the sun upon their land and began the 100 years of sun. The people fled, defeated by the sun dragon. We start off the coast of the continent of Mirios, on the island where the village of Noro is. It's a small fishing village. People are out and about. There are people getting massages, people getting treatments performed, as this village is a place where there are plenty of healers and doctors. This morning, when you wake, you notice that the village guardian, Scallop, has just returned to the village with a catch of fish for the day. He strides in, showing his giant jellyfish titan arm tattoo proudly. Children surround him as he begins to give out all the fish. There's a sense of silence in the air today, a sense of unease as you wake.
Well, Driftwood kind of like yawns, like a big body yawn. Like another day. Feels strange though. Driftwood has not eaten yet. I'm so hungry. I walk over to Scallop without any ceremony and snipe a fish from him as well. I was like, "Hey, Guardian, you got to feed me too. It's not just the kids."
Fine, Driftwood. Fine, Drifty. You can have a fish, and Scallop presents to you a small fish.
Well, typical. Can't even catch big fish. Our guardian kids. Our guardian.
The kids seem to be not paying attention too much as they run around trying to slap each other with fish. The guardian just narrows his eyes at you and hefts the sack of fish across his back and begins to walk away back to his house. As you look around the village, the normal sort of like the wind that sort of blows through, like the breeze, is not as strong. And you notice that the ocean, the tide, has not rolled in as it normally does. You're seeing a lot more of the beach on the shore than you normally do too.
Okay. Well, first Driftwood takes out our knife comb, our shark tooth knife comb. Let's do in the morning, keeping up with the hair, with the pompadour, making sure not a hair strand out of place. I decided to walk up to the shoreline and just feel the water for a second. Just take some time.
The water is very warm and nice. It glistens green, like emerald green, in the sun. But yeah, you see that there's washed up sort of like clams and fish on the sort of sea that are kind of like, they're not used to the water being this low, which the tide never runs this low. Like the weather is hot, but it's not hot enough to dry up this much water.
I mean, some guardian we have, if like the problems are going to continue affecting Noro. I mean, what is there to do? I honestly think Driftwood looks out into the horizon. Maybe we gotta leave. Maybe it's time to leave. Talking to myself.
It's at that moment that you hear a sort of like bell being like rung back in the village, which is usually for like town like village meetings.
I take the fish that Scallop gave me. I throw it back into the ocean as far as I can. Driftwood takes out a comb again and about faces, heads towards the village square, starts walking toward the sound of the bell.
When the beasts of Bannon fled for the mountains, a child named Tosu brought the wolves to a wind canyon. There they created a city ruled by warriors and fueled by war. The wolves of Tosu became their name, and they defeated all who opposed them. Our story begins far off in the arid, rocky plains where the village, or more city, of Tosu resides. It's a city built inside of a giant wind canyon. There's buildings on top of the canyon and buildings within the canyon. The village, I should stop saying village. The city of Tosu is a very militarized state. It's ruled by two leaders, one that handles just military operations and one that handles just governments and politics. The camera kind of like zooms in on like a small like arena where There is a tall, brash warrior wearing some heavy armor with a naginata, a pole arm with a blade at the end, and they lunge at a certain character. Ernie, go ahead and describe your character.
They are. I'm trying to remember how high they are. I'm pretty sure they're a little shorter. They're a little shorter than average. But they have like some scars on their face. They look battle worn, but they're quite young. They have long hair that's tied back very sensibly. I think they have on some. I think their armor looks a little lighter than you would expect for a trial like this, but it's so that Ernie can stay kind of fast and agile. And they have a one edge or single edge kind of broadsword.
Go ahead and roll me a 20-sided die.
Okay. Okay, I got a 19.
A 19 is a success. You accomplish what you were trying to do without any compromises. Dodge out of the way of the naginata blow. You come back in with a counter and smack your friend, Keddy, across the chest, knocking them down. The match is pronounced over, and you have won. Several friends from the crowd watching begin to clap. Your parents are there. The two village elders, the two rulers of the city, Sulak and Sura, they clap, they cheer.
I think Ernie surveys kind of all the people who are cheering, and they have like I guess from a distance what looks like a smile as they kind of wave, and I think their mom probably runs over and picks them up if they're allowed in the ring. There's some uncertainty on their face.
They say the Guardians are the descendants of the great animals that once protected the Okaran Empire from its enemies. They say that the truest of Guardians can cast spells and wield magic beyond imagining. And you make your way down to the riverbed, where there is in fact a shed with a canoe and some fishing gear. And you begin to canoe your way upstream. How far do you row upstream?
Ooh. I think pretty far. I think like the smoke moved in a pattern, the river pattern, maybe like 3 times. And so I go out um maybe 2 or 3 distances from the village.
You begin to row, and eventually you get far enough upstream that you're able to sort of pull off onto a little like sandbar. Go ahead and roll me another d20.
It's a 3.
A 3.
Wow.
Okay. A failure. You fail your intended action and face a setback of the guide's choice. How are you? Are you using a fishing rod, a net, a spear?
I think I'm using a shallow net, and I've kind of constructed I'm kind of wading out in the shallow area, and kind of have this net out along one part of the river to catch fish.
And as you begin to like wave the net and try and catch some of the fish that are in the river, you begin to notice that the river is actually lowering. It's slowly going down from your waist down to like your mid-thigh. And as you look around to see like where the water is possibly going,
Zaba's going to activate his prey sense, which costs 1 point. And what it does is I sharpen my sense of danger for the next hour. And I'll feel like a subtle signal, like the hair on my skin might raise, or I might feel tingling. Whenever I will be imminently threatened by another creature, including creatures I can't see.
This is probably the farthest outside of the village you've ever been. And you see a sort of old ruin of what appears to be some kind of a temple.
Yeah, Zaba will move towards the ruins.
It's made out of stone, which you haven't seen very many stone buildings before.
I see.
When you climb Mount Ida and stare at your reflection in the heart of Mirios, you can never leave the mountain, for to do so would relinquish your godhood, and thus you could be slain by any manner of person, beast, or or dragon. You arrive at a small gathering of people. Your parents are there. The guardian is standing next to an older lady known as Tasia, the village elder. She's not that old. She's quite fit for her age and has like a fishing rod strapped to her back. She's one of the best fishers in the village, and she's standing on a sort of like box in the middle of sort of like the market square where Scallop was giving out fish earlier to the children. As you arrive, the ringing of the bell stops, and Tasia begins to speak. And she says, "There have been bad omens from the gods. Something is upset on the mainland, and I fear for the safety and security of our village. With the recent attacks of pirates and the need to have a guardian, the village is now more in need of resources than ever. We need someone to leave the village and go on the monthly trip a bit earlier to the other villages to bring back supplies."
Let's do like another big performative yawn, like every maybe I don't know, just in the middle, kind of blasé about this whole thing.
Scallop points at you with a harpoon and says, "What about Driftwood?"
I point back with my comb. Driftwood points back at Scallop. What about you? You aren't like, what's the point of having a guardian if you're not going to be doing the legwork to make this place any better? Isn't that why we all voted? Oh, wait, I don't think we voted, did we? Right, kids? I look back at the same kids.
The kids are kind of wide-eyed looking up at you, very concerned as sort of the crowd like parts like the Red Sea, and it's just you and the Guardian kind of looking at one another. Everyone's kind of like, there's like hush whispers and gasps. Your parents just kind of shake their head as they kind of like watch this exchange. Scallop takes a stride towards you and puts the harpoon down, like, point up, and stands, and looks down, stands close enough to you to look down at you ever so slightly, and says, "Remember your place, Driftwood. I am the guardian of the village. I'm needed here to protect the village from pirates and other creatures, like this jellyfish titan on my arm that I'm going to slay one day."
We all know, Scallop, that you've been drawing jellyfish titans on the desks at school when we were just kids. And I think everyone also knows how you peed in class when you were asked to present about what your favorite fish was. Right? Doesn't everyone, just me? Okay, well, let me just say, you might be the guardian, Scallop, but there are plenty of people here who are putting in the work. And just because you have a title doesn't mean you can tell anyone here what to do. We've lived here for generations, and we've done the work. We've been taking care of people. I don't particularly like the direction in which your position is pushing everyone, especially me. And then Driftwood puts a finger up to the spear and scoots it away. It's like, and I'm not scared of you, okay? So maybe you should know your place. You're a place that didn't ever exist before the drought happened.
Go ahead and roll me a 20-sided die.
Ooh, I'm scared. I roll 3.
A 3. All right. That is a failure. You fail your intended action and face a setback of the guide's choice. It's at that point that you hear Tasia say, "Enough! It's decided. The garden will remain here, and Driftwood you will leave at first light tomorrow for the other villages."
Hey, like, do I get a say in this, Tasia? Really?
"The will of the guardian is the will of me." And she just kind of shakes her head.
Driftwood looks for the kids to find some sense of grounding.
The kids have all kind of retreated to their parents, and they're all like holding like their cloaks and like their skirts and robes. You realize now you're sort of the center of this circle, as even Scallop has backed up into the crowd. However, your mom, Beluga, breaks through the circle and wraps her arm around your shoulder, and she says, "Come, child, come. Let's go."
Mom, this sucks.
I know.
I I didn't mean to, like, I don't know. People think I have always been a little left out in the village, a little bit of an outcast. I don't know. We can blame a lot of things. We could blame that brother got stolen by pirates. Okay, yeah, too heavy. We don't want to talk about that. We can blame, I don't know, this seemingly endless drought with like very little fish, with an uppity guardian and village elder. I don't know. I don't know what to blame. I don't mean to make you not proud, Mom. I apologize for the scene that I made. It's not my fault though. Not all my fault.
She goes in and hugs you. And it's at that moment that you kind of realize that the crowd is dispersed during that exchange. And you and your mom are just kind of hugging in the middle of town. Tang Kai lured the gods down from the mountain. First Bannon, then Thala, and lastly Uli. One by one, he slew them all. With Uli's dying breath, they cast a wind to the north, hoping that they would find a new hero to save Mirios. We're going to fade over to the next scene, and you're on one end of the table, and Sulak, the other like military leaders, on the other end of the table. And you're there, your friends are sitting next to you, fires and people dancing and people drinking. There's a nice sort of potluck feast. You can kind of have your pickings. How are you sort of conducting yourself at this sort of big gathering that you're kind of forced to be at?
Are they getting handed any celebratory toasts?
There were a couple in the beginning of the meal. They've kind of died down.
Ernie really wish they had a drink right now. But no, I think they are a little quiet. They're a little quiet tonight, kind of avoiding conversation, anything that will dig a little deeper about. Like if people like you're like how are you feeling? They're like, I'm feeling good, but they don't elaborate further on that. So I think I think people would notice that they're being a little quieter than usual. I'm gonna try and get a bit of fresh air.
You managed to sneak out and outside to the sort of front of the mansion. As you stare out, this particular house is built into the side of like the wind cavern or the wind canyon, so you can see sort of like the other houses that are lit up with candles in the night, and it appears to be fairly quiet. Like most, like a good chunk of the people are here, but it's also pretty late. You do hear something though to your left as you sit on the steps outside of this house. You hear a long nice night, right?
I look over. Who is this?
You see none other than Sidon, the son of the village elders, who is once again in the stocks outside of their house.
I can see this from my back to the.
he's like in the stocks right in front of their house. It's like he's on public display right in front of their house.
How long do I know how long he's been on the stocks?
It's hard to tell the last time you saw him not in the stocks.
I'm gonna look around me really quickly and make sure no one else is behind me or in the area. Does it seem the coast is clear or?
Yeah, it seems like the coast is clear. No one's noticed that you've snuck out.
Okay. I think I picked up a plate of fruit on my way out. How close? We're close by where I can speak with him. So can I walk over and like pop some fruit in his mouth?
Yeah. You walk up and do that. He happily takes. He's like, oh, Ernie, thank you.
Yeah,
I really owe you one.
We live in a warrior society, and but at least here you can eat some fruit.
When Mitra washed up on the shore of Mirios, Tang Kai had already won. But Mitra, with the help of Eridus, stole the moon and became the god of the night and the ocean, giving the people hope. So, you enter inside the ancient temple. Inside appears to be some sort of like a foyer, almost like a dining mess hall. There's like these like pillars that hold up a ceiling, and there are some like rotted wooden tables, and some stone chairs that are toppled over. There are bones that appear to be old, very old bones. You can't tell from what.
Okay. Well, I'm walking trepidatiously. So I'm going to walk up to the altar and see if it's like an altar to Bannon or some other, if I can identify what who the altar
Okay.
is to.
Take your hand and you brush away some like cobwebs and dust. And you see a sort of like carvings depicting not the four gods you grew up knowing. The four gods being Uli, the mortal god, Bannon, the beast god, Tala, the sun god, and Mitra, the night god. But a fifth that you can't quite make out what they are the god of. Tankai is not a god. He was a man. Twisted by his greed and lust for power, he became everything he hated. The heart of Mirios showed him who he really was, a serpent who sought to destroy the world. That night, what kind of a meal do you think your parents prepare for you in your last night in the village?
It's like a tuna steak. Like
Ooh.
tuna doesn't is not like easy to come by, especially now. And I we all feel like Driftwood definitely feels guilty eating this steak. Um, Last time, I don't think like Driftwood only ever sees like people in upper class society eating this steak and like kind of sneers at them. Um, and so yeah, that's what the meal is.
Your mother says that they were saving this for your birthday, but as things have moved up a bit, um, they feel like it's appropriate. Do you say much during dinner, or do you just eat?
Driftwood feels a little beside themselves, um, that this potentially could have been avoided, but at the same time, um, I felt like this was going to happen. Like I was going to leave sooner or later anyway. So Driftwood expresses to their parents like, "Hey, like I don't think there was really going to be the future that we expected here, for me at least. Um, and so maybe this is a good sign. Um, Plus, hey, like I, we all know that there's way more food like in the world to eat, right? Of course, I'll be picking up seeds, bringing back food. Like, let's try to see the upshot of all of this."
Your father just smiles at that and presents to you a small wrapped package wrapped in like banana leaves, or I guess like palm leaves or something.
What you want me to? You want me to open this?
Yes. Yes. Open it.
Okay.
Open it,
Okay.
child.
Okay. Driftwood likes surprises, but is also overly sentimental. So Driftwood takes the knife side of the comb, cuts through the leaves, opens up the packaging.
Inside is your very own utility apron with all sorts of pockets and knickknacks to put things. And your father looks at you and says, "My child, it is dangerous out there in the rest of the world. It's dangerous to be out there alone. Take this."
Wow. The weight of like the actual apron hits Driftwood, and like it hurts me to leave this place. Um, but I think having this would definitely help, um, ease the mind a little bit. But like I said, there is an upshot to all of this. Um, I will be returning, absolutely. Hopefully with stories, definitely with food. Um, so please don't let your hearts be burdened by my absence.
They both smile and go in and hug you.
I cry a little. Driftwood sheds a tear.
So do your parents. Your father and your mother both shed a tear. The healers of Noro lent Mitra their magic, giving them the power to heal the land. The people of Tosu gave them their strength, so that they could fight back the dragon who sought battle during the day. Have you ever thought about leaving?
I look around again to make sure there's no one there. I think my hesitance to answer that question, kind of says it all.
Saiden says, well, it's pretty hard to leave the gates here. Unless you can climb out the literal top of the canyon, it'd be much easier to get through the gates, which, I might know where my parents keep the key.
You might.
I might know.
You might. I wink. Straighten your head, I see.
Yeah. If I could straighten my head, straighten my back, stretch my wrists out.
I have my lock picking tools out before he even finishes that sentence.
Cool. With ease, you manage to lock pick out Saiden. The lock isn't very complicated. He stretches and clasps your hand and thanks you and says, okay, all we gotta do is climb to the second story of this. And it's somewhere in my parents' bedroom.
Are they in the bedroom?
No, they're probably at the party.
They better be.
Watch and follow. And he begins to climb up the side of the house.
Okay.
And on his first attempt, he climbs up one of the banners and it rips.
Do I catch? Do I kind of clumsily?
Yes, you kind of clumsily catch him.
I don't know if I catch as much as I was looking up and then he fell down on me.
Correct. Yes. Your catch is able to help him boost him back up, and he manages to start to climb up.
Okay. I look around one more time. I will try to follow if the broken banister will let me.
Roll me a 20-sided die.
It's a 9.
That's a 9. Okay. A 9 is a tough choice. You succeed in your action, but there's a cost. You begin to climb up, and upon getting up to the top, your friends wander outside. They don't see you, but they're going to see Saiden in a matter of moments. You can either hide yourself or hide Saiden.
Oh man, it's such a tough choice. Okay. I think my instinct is oh man. Okay. You know what? I do think Ernie is a little bit more of a selfish person. And they're gonna choose themselves right now, and I think they're gonna stay hidden.
And you slink into the shadows and into a corner of the building where light isn't cast, and you manage to hide. From below, you hear from around the corner. You hear Mar shout, "Hey, who the heck let you out of your stocks?" Saiden says, "I don't know. I guess someone forgot to lock them."
Classic Saiden.
You hear Itada say, wow, Saiden, you do realize you only have 2 choices here. It's either we climb up there and deal with you, or you come down here and no one has to... and she gestures over to Keddy, who cracks their neck and knuckles. And Saiden lets out a big sigh and then begins to climb down. And they put him back in the stocks.
I think time is of the essence here. The party is going to end soon. I kind of peer over the edge to look at Saiden.
Sweet.
Slink back.
Yeah. He's holding a thumbs up. You get a sense that he's hoping you'll come back for him. He managed to take a knife and just whittle open one of the window, and he managed to pop inside. It's pretty dark in here. But you do have your goggles with you.
Yeah, I'm going to pull them down.
Cool. Pulling down your goggles, darkness turns to day, and you're able to see. There's a desk, a bed with a net over it, like a mosquito's net. There's a mirror, a wardrobe, and a sort of metal, an ornate, metal trunk. And then the desk has sort of papers on it and an inkwell.
I'm going to go over to I'm going to scan the area, make sure there's no one there. Okay. No tripwires or anything, because these are the guardians we're talking about. I'm going to approach the desk first and see if there's any drawers, any locked drawers or anything like that.
Yeah. Upon going to the desk, there is a locked compartment on the underside of the desk.
Okay. I'm gonna try and pop that open. See if it trips anything.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a 20-sided die.
Yeah, it's a great roll. I got a 6.
Okay, a 6 is a tough choice. You succeed in your action, but there's a cost. The guide will give you a choice between 2 setbacks. So you manage to pick and pop open the little compartment, which does in fact have the keys to the city. However, you hear footsteps coming up the door. You can either choose to close and lock the compartment you opened, but they'll catch you, or you can leave it open and you can escape through the window.
I'm running. I'm leaving.
Okay, great. You run and hop out the window as the door to this room opens. One night, while the people of Mirios stood against Tankai, Mitra climbed Mount Ida and sought to steal the power of the heart of Mirios so they could stop Tankai once and for all. You descend maybe like 2 stories down before it opens back up into like a sort of underground, like some sort of underground like pool. And at the sort of center of this like pool of water in this underground cave is a like floating like orb, a glowing orb of like white light. And you'd see that there is like water in this, and the water is slowly being like pulled up like reverse gravity style like into the orb and disappearing.
I don't like that at all.
Returning to the battle, shard in hand, Mitra lured Tankai into their trap. The great heroes fought the Sun Dragon under the cover of night, which granted them strength against the Sun Dragon Tankai. You make your way down to the docks, where you're greeted by none other than Tasia and Scallop.
Boo. I say as I walk towards them.
Tasia shakes her head and hands you what appears to be a roll of fabric that includes like a bedroll and like a blanket and some light rations and some dried fish. She hands it to you and says, and as she like leans in, she whispers to you, "I wish you the best of luck. Stay safe, Driftwood."
Yeah, Tasia, I'm just take care of my parents. I mean, like, there's a bare minimum you can do that, please. I
She
will
nods.
do what I need to do. I will represent the village well. I have no plans of any disparagement past yesterday's events. But I have a lot of expectations for this village. You know what this living here has cost my family in unintentional ways. So it's very important that everyone stays safe here.
She gives a very stiff nod as you hear Scallop holler to you from a small little like one sail boat. "Come on, Drifty, get in the boat. I don't have all morning."
Driftwood doesn't say anything. Starts combing their hair.
Cool. You take like a solid like 5-10 minutes to comb your hair. Do you eventually head onto the boat? Or do you make him wait a little longer?
I do like 2 more minutes. Driftwood's 2 more.
Nice. You comb your hair for 12 minutes before getting onto the boat. And Scallop just shakes his head as he begins to sail the ship towards land. Despite the cover of night, Tongo, Eridus, and Nisha perished in the conflict. The great Sun Dragon gave Mitra a choice. Give him the heart of Mirios or be destroyed. Mitra refused his offer.
I want to grab just some like food, like some rations.
Yeah, okay.
Something small.
Yeah, you're able to put together like a week's worth of rations, and in your room you're able to gather enough like supplies and like make like a bedroll. Kind of like manage to like wrap up a roll of like rations and water and stuff like that. Okay. That's stuff that you would just have lying around. You make your way back. You slink through the shadows. Most people have gone to bed. You manage to get back to the stocks where Sidon is locked up.
Hey.
Oh. Hey, you came back.
Yeah. Thanks for the keys. I I try to hand them back, but then I realize that he's still in the stocks. I'm like, here, 1 second. I get my lockpick stuff out and pick the lock again.
Cool, yeah. You get him free. He rubs his wrists and he says, good to see that you got the keys. Shall we?
Where are you heading?
Anywhere?
1 second. I set my bag down and I take out a couple. I think I have like some kind of handkerchief with food in it. I think I take the handkerchief and I kind of split up some of the food and I hand it to him.
Oh, thanks. You didn't need to. I was just gonna forage, but this also works. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You want to keep these or you fling them into the bushes?
Yes, please.
Okay, here you go.
He takes it. You and Sidon make your way to the city gates. Sidon is like bare feet and like in raggedy shorts.
Oh no!
But he makes no time to stop for clothes. He like pulls off like a blanket off of like a clothesline on the way out. You manage to make it to the gates. There are 2 guards in towers on either side.
Can't really put together a convincing disguise, huh? I really don't want. I'm trying my hardest not to be recognized. I don't want to be seen leaving, basically. I'm gonna look. I look at Sidon. I'm like, who wants to start the distraction first? You or me?
You know what? Yeah. He hands you back the handkerchief. I got this. And he runs out and says like, hey metalheads, look who's out of the stocks again. And he like picks up a stone and throws a rock. And the guards like, oh, what the? They turn around and they start they're like, oh, damn it, Sidon. And they start running down to run after Sidon as he slips back into the city.
Oh wait, I didn't want Sidon to have to go back into the city.
He gives you a thumbs up as
oh man, I really backstabbed Sidon on this one.
He gives you a thumbs up as he runs into the city.
He handed me the handkerchief though, so I'm gonna tie the handkerchief around my face, and I'm gonna run after the guards.
So you don't even have to run after the guards as you turn around, having tied the handkerchief. You see the guards and your friends and Sidon as they have caught him. You hear Keddy say, "Halt there."
So I say, I'm Eridus, the thief, and I have the city gates here in my pocket.
As you evoke the name of the trickster hero, Eridus, the fox-tailed thief, everyone just kind of gasps as Eridus is sort of the villain in a lot of Tosu mythology.
I take out my sword and start brandishing like "'Tis I," like.
It's at that moment that the Keddy pulls out their naginata and they say,
"You think you
by
can best
Tongo's
me?
might, I will best you."
Best me in battle. Aha! We have a bigger jokester than I in our midst.
And they're gonna lunge at you. Go ahead and roll a 20-sided die.
This die has to be fake. I can't be rolling 19s this amount of time. I'm re-rolling. Well, I rolled a 20 that time. So,
Okay.
Well,
you know what? The first triumph of this session. This is an exciting moment. You automatically succeed at what you're trying to do, and maybe even find added fortune. If you're dealing damage, double it. So I'm guessing here you're trying to dodge the blow, get Sidon, and get out of the city, right?
Yeah.
So literally in one swift motion, you like sidestep the Naginata and like trip Keddy, who falls flat on their back. You dodge and flip over the swing of Mars' flail. You catch an arrow from Faden and bat away the longsword of Itana. And by that point, the 2 guards are so scared that they drop their spears and just let Sidon go and run away. And you manage to grab Sidon, who tosses you the keys. Yeah. And he quickly unlocks the giant lock at the front of the gate.
Okay.
And the doors open as the two of you run out into the night.
So long.
We're going to fade to the next scene, which is the following morning. Outside of the Wind Canyon, on sort of the like rolling hills at the front of the mountains, you awaken, having slept the night out here, and Sidon is bundled up in the blanket that he had stolen. And Sidon says to you, while bundled up, as he like rolls over, like as if he's in a sleeping bag, he says, "That was pretty awesome. I got to admit, that was pretty great. I really owe you one. Where are you headed?"
That way.
Sidon says, stroking his chin.
Where are you headed?
I don't know. The wind, and he like licks his finger and holds it up. The wind says I should probably head north or west towards the ocean. I kind of like the idea of taking a nice salty sea bath.
You do you, Sidon.
Yeah, I think I will. Ernie. It was an honor getting to pull a fast one on the people of Tosu, and hopefully they won't come after us. I bid you adieu.
Yes. If you see anyone who asks who freed you, say it was Eridus, the fox-tailed thief.
Your secret is safe with me. As the two of you go your separate ways, Sidon heads north. You follow the river east to west. And as you head along the river, it eventually curves south. This river is known as the Acheron River, and it merges with the Tigris River, which goes north-south. Eventually, you begin to head south. Along the way, you see like glimpses of like ruined buildings and some minor trees here and there. Nothing terribly striking of interest. And after a couple of days' journey, you arrive in Kokoru village. With their dying breath, Mitra trapped Tankai in the shard they stole from the heart of Mirios. The survivors of the great battle turned the shard into an orb that they protected, but it was lost. Thousands of years have passed since that day, the orb long forgotten.
Can I poke the orb with my spear?
It's almost like glass. Your spear goes like thunk against it.
Or like ting?
Like like a ting. And like it's like your spear tip like goes into it, but you hear a ting as it
Oh.
You can't like pierce it.
So if I take my spear out, is it the tip still intact?
Yeah, the tip's still intact,
okay.
But like the center of like sort of all this glowing light is some sort of a glass orb, you think.
Okay, and it doesn't really move when the spear touched it?
No, it does not move.
Well, I don't like this orb, and I want to do something to make this orb stop doing its thing. But can Zaba like kind of tries to gingerly grab the orb?
Go ahead and roll me a 20-sided die.
This is stressful. I'm gonna cry. No, it's a 1. It's a nat 1.
It's a nat 1.
This is terrible. My hands.
This is what's called in Quest a catastrophe.
No.
And the text verbatim is, "Oh no, period. You automatically fail, and you may suffer a severe setback."
My hands are gonna be dehydrated.
So you wrap the sort of like you like wrap your hands and you go to like grab the orb, and it's at that moment that you feel a surge of force as your whole body is blown back and you slam against the wall of the cavern and you black out.
Fuck!
They say the 100 years of sun will return. That Tankai's wrath will be unleashed yet again. They say that there are no more gods and that there are no more heroes left to save Mirios. They say that a sword of stone, a shard of the sky, and a heart of glass will save Mirios. To our wayward heroes, good luck. You're going to need it. Dice and Pizza is Mya Worrell as Zaba, Justin Ricafort as Driftwood, Kyla Worrell as Ernie, and Derek Aiello as the guide. Cover art is by Gene Young. Music is by Itamar Ben Zimra, with additional sound design and sound effects by Brian Kim. And this week, we had additional music by Dane Vogdal. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Dice and Pizza for updates on the show, and check out the video or audio version of this on YouTube or wherever you get your local podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. We thought it would be good to provide a look at our heroes' lives before Episode 1 to help set the stage for Episode 8. Speaking of, our next episode will be coming to you in 2 weeks on Monday, December 13th. Will the gang save Sidon? Will Driftwood and Zaba ever become friends again? And will we ever figure out who or what the Bawaya is? Find out in, hopefully, Episode 8. No promises, though. Alright, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you in 2 weeks. Bye.